Disclaimer: Fair Use Act, education purpose use only. All rights and image and music clip belong to their respective owner, and we do not claim ownership. Now, man, gang, man, when I tell you, bro, Kanika Jenkins changed my whole life, bro. And I got to say, man, if you watch my last live video, and I was talking about the 12 tribes of Israel, right? And I know I had ruffled some feathers up because I was like, look, I don't know, but as I'm doing research and trying to find out who is the real tribe of Israel. And when I was saying, like, I don't think these people was black. And I was going down and I was proving everything what I was saying. So basically, this is what I was saying. If you watch my whole live video, right? I went back to Adam and Eve. It's some things that some people had learned was like, okay, if you ask a person right now, who was the snake? When I was, you know what I'm saying, when I was going to church and you know what I'm saying, and when I was reading the Bible, and you know what I'm saying, I was led to believe the snake was the devil. I was taught this was the snake, this Satan, and he came down here and destroyed human mankind by introducing them to a fruit and bit it, and they can see from good or evil. All right. But what I found out, the snake is going to be Lillian. Now, the Bible in Genesis don't speak of Lillian. The Christian Bible taught, hey, uh, Adam just only had one wife, right? But if you pick up them other Bibles, and when you hear the one with Adam was Lillian first wife, so Eve gonna be the second wife. And so she tempted the second wife at a tree. Now they in the garden. So once you go to the picture, when I said, hey, there go Lillian right there. This Adam and Eve right here. You see how she biting the fruit? If you watch my last live, you already know what's about to happen. So they biting something. Or they took something. You know what I'm saying? And whatever they took, Lillian gave it to them. The wife. So now they finna, and we know it's gonna be some type of sexual act, cause I was led to believe that, man, boom. According to the Bible, I would be thinking like, damn, boom, she cheated with Satan, and he impregnated her. I don't know, you know what I'm saying? I don't know, but this what these people got statues said this the real snake right here. She was the first wife of Adam. I don't know if she was the second wife or the first. I don't know which one it is, but I just know whatever she did, they must have a threesome. Something like that. And then when I say, hey, when I started researching the Bible, I'm like, wait a minute. It really sounds like that Satan created Adam and Eve after his own likeness. And I watched my live video that I just recently dropped. If you keep watching it, John, you're gonna be like, oh, I see, cause y'all know I be slow getting to the T. You know what I'm talking about? Y'all know Trey ain't got to warm up, and once I get that engine running, you know what I'm saying? You already know. You finna hear the whining coming down the street. You know what I'm talking about? So look, to make a long story short, so I was like, all right, if when they got kicked out the garden, they said a look, Adam and Eve, right? They was in the garden, all this old stuff, right? Now, when you see this picture, now look who depicted Adam and Eve, right? You could tell what these people look like. So what I'm saying, when Cain got the mark on his head, in the middle of his forehead, you got to go back. You got to go back to these people. Oh shit, I ain't got everything set up. Hold on. I ain't got everything set up, goddammit. All right, hold on. I know what to do. Keep it going. So now look, you got Islam. Look how they painted Eve and Adam, right? Now, once you go to the Gnostic Bible, look how once you start looking into it, be like, oh, okay. All right, Satan, where is it? This story back. We gotta keep going. Right here. Like here go the tree. So this is Eve. And she grabbing something from her. And he grabbing or handing something like, take this, and you take this. So, and if you look at her legs, right, you know that's where this serpent come in there. But whatever happened after that, look what Lillian did. We know this is female, but you know what I'm saying? Boom, boom. Right? So something happened. All right. The fall of Adam, Eve is depicted. All right. The fruit knowledge story is retelling of a fall of a man is a love triangle. Now you can't even dispute with me on this. This is not what I'm coming up with. This is some things that you got these people, you know what I'm saying? Look, with Lillian. So what I'm basically saying here, Lillian is the snake. Lillian. Let's go to Lillian. Right? Notice it's going to start in Hebrew. First, let's go to the Hebrew language. Now, I was taught This was the language that Adam and Eve spoke. All right, watch this. If they spoke Hebrew, and I told everybody, like, y'all don't think Hebrew language got nothing to do with us. Because look who spoke Hebrew. It's a Northwest Semitic language within the Afrikaner language, meaning that, think about like Tarzan. You know what I'm saying? When I say Tarzan, yeah, now it's gonna make sense. So they look, once you find out who spoke the language, right? Hebrew presented by scholar around in the 6th century at the time of Babylon captivity, right? Hold on, wait a minute. Matter of fact, let me watch this. Uh, what race that spoke Hebrew language?
The ancient Israelites, also known as Hebrews, historically spoke the Hebrew language. They were a group of tribes, later the Jewish people, from the southern Levant, and are related to other Canaanite groups.
What? Did y'all just hear that? Now I know you just heard that. It was spoken by the Jewish people. Watch this. Once you read it again, you'll see like, oh, okay, they would look. They gonna communicate. Look, listen, the Jewish people. The first day the book printed in Hebrew was published. Another Jewish, right? But now keep this in mind. I was taught that Hebrew is black. We are the real Jews. That's what I was taught in church. I'm just saying. So once you like, damn, that's why they ain't want nobody to really read the Hebrew Bible again, right? The Hebrew Bible, right? You know what I'm talking about? Remember the Hebrew Bible? Look, you got Israel all named on this stuff. The Israel America and the Jewish America, right? Who else? All right. It was a tradition to understand the objective based on the name of Abraham ancestry. Now look at Abraham, right? So when I say, hey, who's studying Judaism and Christian and Islam? So when I say, hey, these was the only people that angels was talking to and leading the way, right? Now check this out. Hebrew belonged to the Canaanite language, right? And the others are Aramaic. The Canaanites, right? What race the Canaanite would be? Let's see. Once you read it, what do it sound like to you?
The Canaanite languages, sometimes referred to as Canaanite dialects, are one of four subgroups of the Northwest Semitic languages. The others are Aramaic and the now extinct Ugaritic and Amorite language. These closely related languages originated in the Levant and Upper Mesopotamia. Ancient Semitic-speaking people spoke them in an area encompassing what is today Israel, Palestine, Jordan, the Sinai Peninsula, Lebanon, Syria, as well as some areas of southwestern Turkey, Iraq, and the northwestern corner of Saudi Arabia.
Golly. That makes sense now. So if you look at today wars, and Israel were trying to knock out Pakistan, the war that's still going on in Jordan, then you see all this in Saudi Arabia, and then watch this. This is where you finna get the Northern African from. And guess what Northern African is? So what if Trey Gang say, hey man, up here in Northern Africa, right here, you know who they neighbors is. That's all I'ma say. All right.
Arabia. From the 9th century BCE, they also spread to the Iberian Peninsula and North Africa in the form of Phoenician. The Canaanites are broadly
Hebrew language spread to Africa. Nah, I ain't said it. They said it.
broadly defined to include the Hebrews, Israelites and Judeans, Ammonites, Edomites, Ekronites, Hyksos, Phoenicians, including the Punics/Carthaginians, Moabites, Sudians, and sometimes the Ugarites and Amorites. The Canaanite
Hold on. All this stuff is located in Syria. These brown people came from the western Mesopotamia. Oh, look, 20. Ooh, wait a minute. To Egypt? Hold on. Who the Edomites? Look at this. In Israel? Hold on now. Wait a minute. Do we got image? Boy, we got image. Let's see this. I just want to curious. They was like, you know what I'm saying? We're right up there, Middle Egypt, you know what I'm talking about. Let's see what's going on. Right? I just want to look at their image and their statues and if they got some, anything they can show me. All right. Now, everybody know what all of this, you know what I'm saying? All right. You should know about those little symbols right there. You know, like we see these symbols all the time. Whoa. Is that an African? I'm gonna let y'all answer that. I just want to see more images. Hmm. Are those Africans? I need to know. All right. Oh, this even better picture. Is these Africans? Huh. All right. You can answer that in the chat. And these now check this out. Look at because I always wanted to know why did the gazelle popped up? Even the gazelle, you know what I'm saying, popped up, right? So I was like, man, I want to know what's really going on. It's a mummified head. Hmm. Look at the hair. All right. Look. Notice why all the nose and the lips gonna be missing, right? Oh yeah. Keep this in mind about the mushroom headed. If you watch Joe Rogan, when Joe Rogan was telling everybody, you know the priests, and you know back in religion, these people used to take mushrooms, and you could have God like, you know what I'm saying? You know how they say, I never took no shroom before. You know what I'm saying? But everybody would tell you that took a shroom, but like they had a spiritual moment. So when I think like, what would did Eve? Why would they would be at a tree? What would it was? It was a mushroom somewhere around because you know how you know what I'm saying. You know where to find mushrooms at. So it would make sense that you can get somebody some shrooms and you know what I'm saying and can hold on. I don't know. I'm just being curious on that part. Cause what other drug that can make you have? They even talked about it in the Bible. Don't you know when they said manning, when they said God rained manning down to the earth, you'll find it, you know what I'm saying? About the mushroom. It ain't gonna say the mushroom in the Bible, it called manna. And they were like, that's the only plant that can grow like in 24 hours. Don't you know how like if you just said like if you into cutting your grass and all this old stuff, just say you just cut your grass one time and then the next day you go out there, you got a full blown mushroom. Like they just pop out of nowhere. Like, look, not only they found weed, And all it is, they even find cocaine in these people's systems. Now look, check this out. Just look at these features, right? Just look at these features. I can't say on that, but y'all to decide, like, all right, you can go for Africa on this one. You know what I'm talking about? Right? You can go many ways with this one. Cause it look like another race to me too now. You know what I'm saying? Cause it could look like hold on, wait a minute. Let me keep going. Boom, what this is? A duck bill shaped X blade. Ah, okay. The horses were introduced to Egypt by who? And became the favorite subject of Egypt art. It makes sense to me. The two-wheeled horse chariots was found in the tomb. Oh, so think about the chariot where Moses was fled from Pharaoh. These were type of chariots. They would be boom, 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 boom. And you know what the Bible talks about chariots. And man, look. Now look. What do they look like now, bruh? Mm, 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 mm. Just look. All right. All right. Now look at this. Come on now. Now you see they already got crosses and look, they got robes. Check it out. Now, this supposed to be a pharaoh, right? And this person's on the Egypt walls and everything, right? This is King Ramsey. Ooh wee. Showing him catching enemies of the Nubians. Now, what race you think King Ramsey belonged to? All right. 19th century. Look, check this out. Look at the images. You want to know what I think they did, right? You want to know why they turn all of these stuff down now and trying to build over this stuff? Now look at these people. These the people that was speaking Hebrew, right? All right. Now look at this. All right. Whoa. Mm-mm. Look at these. Come on. Do that look like an African to y'all? I'm gonna ask a question. Do that look like an African to y'all? And check this out. Only thing I'm doing is interpreting what these people told, what these people showing us. It ain't like Trey Gang uploaded this stuff up and say, hey, here you go. These people got stories behind this. Cause you want to know, look, all this, you tracing all this back to the Hebrew language, right? Okay. All this back to the Hebrew language, right? Guess what they had to do? Hold on. I'm just showing y'all what they got up on her. And I just read some things and it got me questioning. Like, hey, right? Look at the image. Mm, all right. So that's where that come from. So when I say, hey, the goddamn language was spread it to the Africans, cause they let you know when they start communicating with those Africans. Cause you know when you communicate, just say like just like I meet a Mexican, he got to learn my language and I got to adopt his language like America. Now, Donald Trump was like, hey, if you can't speak English, you getting deported type. Like, you know what I'm saying? You got to learn English. So that means you got to communicate. And you will have, you know what I'm saying, language that you be like, yeah, what people spoke over there in the United States. You will, everybody speak English over there. You know what I'm saying? And you got people speak Chinese over there. You got speak different kinds of African. You got different kinds of languages. And look how many languages in American alone, right? Now look. So when I trace these people back, like today, Pakistan, Israel, Jordan, you know what I'm saying? That's where the Hebrew language came from. And and that's how it spread into North Africa, right? The Canaanite was broadly defined, including the Hebrews, Israelites, you know what I'm talking about? All these Canaanites, the Edomites, you know what I'm saying? The Moabites. You go look at all these races. It ain't from Africa. So if 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 we were taught none of this shit and just say they put the truth out there, but since if you just gonna only read the Bible and not that'll be the wrong thing to do. You don't think you need to read multiple books in the Bible and maybe you will understand a little more. Cause I ain't saying none of this shit real. But if I say, hey, I'm interested in the 12 tribes of Israel because I'm looking into some, and I'm like, well, these people weren't even black then. And then when I'm like, well, damn, if I find out they weren't black, then you start looking into Adam and Eve and be like, damn. So Satan did have to get rid of Jesus. Like they always said in the Bible, this how he died and this what was going on, you know what I'm saying? And Satan, right, had him crucified. And where he was crucified in Israel. It would make so much sense why Jesus, out of the whole world, and when Jesus went to Israel, look at his mission. It was to save us from all the popes, the bishops, the church. He even went in the synagogue, bruh. And look, then the Bible said when Jesus walked in the synagogue and find out what they said Jesus was missing. But y'all know they said Jesus was missing the last time you even heard nothing about Jesus. He was like 12 years old. He went to Egypt. And once he came back at the age of 33, guess what he would be teaching in Israel? If he went to Egypt, what if I say, hey, the pyramid is really satanic? Would you believe that? Right? Yeah or nay? Answer that in the chat. What if I tell you is the pyramid is satanic? I'm talking about real satanic. Would you believe that? All right. Many Jews use the Hebrew language well in the Middle Ages up until the present day. The Jews. Since the Jews was first to speak Hebrew, the Jewish people are an ethnic group and a nation, right? From Israelites. That's why you got Judaism. All right. Check this out. Everything in blue gonna be where the Jews at, bro. Look. Jews first been the habitats of the kingdom of Judah. Look where the kingdom of Judah was at. Right? The Sumerian people, right? Look at who the Sumerian people is. Now this is Sumerian people. You remember when Jesus, the lady was giving the water, you know what I'm saying? And God said, hey, you drink my water like, you know what I'm saying, you a hair. Look, why did? Look who the Sumerian people look like. Huh. Look. It makes so much sense why they would be doing this stuff. Like, they got a reason to. Like, oh, look, just look at this shit. This a Philistine map in Hebrew? Huh. In Hebrew. Of Palestine. Is that a woman? Sitting on what? All right. Foreigners eaten by lions. Foreigners eaten by lions. And look what they doing today. Look at the background. Look at the buildings. All right. Look. The Sumerian people. This is synagogue in the Sumerian in the synagogue. And this in the 1920s. All right. 1920s. Now check this out. If I were walking down the street, I would swear this a white woman. Then when you look at the hair, all I could do is think about Esau and Jacob. Go to Adam and Eve. Then they had red hair. Adam and Eve had red hair. Hold on. All right. Look. Sumerian high priest. Look at their noses. He got a big nose. He got a big nose. Everybody knows ain't just, you know what I'm saying? Man, you got white people with big nose, white people with a thin nose. You know, every race got big and thin nose, right? All right. All right. I just want to see the images. What Moses looked like. Cause you know Moses had that walking stick. Remember when Moses had that walking stick? Hey, well, I want to know that Moses, who Moses married, you know what I'm saying? Paya, appreciate the super chat gang. Appreciate that. Hold on, look. Remember when Moses with the walking stick, but he had a snake on the stick? When you think about the snake on the staff, right? And it supposed to be Moses really walking cane too at the same time. And then you find out Lillian is the snake that betrayed Adam and Eve. And then when you go back to the Pharaoh and you want to know why they wore that snake on top of their Pharaoh hats. That's why when you look at India, they know how to blow the flute and play with the snakes like the cobra, like toot, 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 toot. And that snake finna be like, whoa, you playing my tune, man. You see what I'm saying? Let me go to Moses right quick. This what they say what Moses looked like. So if I say, hey, I don't want to believe this, but they put this stuff out there. So I don't know what to think at this point, but what it sound like if I tell y'all this? What if the 12 tribes of Israel, the way they got it all set up, and once you read other books than the Bible, right? Then you find out that's why they had to take those books out the Bible to keep the cover up. That's all I'm saying. And I say, what if Lucifer, Satan, created his own race? Because when the Bible speaks that, come, let us make man in our image, when he got cast off the earth, and then it would make sense why Moses could talk to God. Not the God that we thinking, but the God that created them, and they know their history, and he giving them laws, 10 commandments, you know, telling everybody like, yeah, you know what I'm saying. And at this point, I'm starting to believe Jesus was already dead when this shit was going on. That's the whole purpose. That's the whole purpose of this live video. Because I'm like, that's why they got rid of. Look, if you look at this image, right? I believe this how the devil wrote history. And guess what he wrote it in? In their language, in Hebrew. Oh, damn, I ain't even showing y'all this shit. My bad, y'all. Look. Right here, look what this image show. My bad, gang. Look. So if I tell you, like, well, the things that I'm reading, I just want to share the world. Like, look what these people saying. Like, they put it out there. I'm just interpreting when I actually read other books in the Bible. Cause don't this image look like that? That's how Moses was able to talk to God on mountaintops. On mountaintops. He could come out and rewrite the whole religions. And guess who's gonna have a problem with that? Iranian. What? That's all I'm just saying. So that's why the Iranian, right? You know how like Moses was like, that's why they didn't want, that's why when Moses came back down from the mountain, right? Guess what they were still worshiping? The cow, right? The cow. If you watch my last live, the cow came up. And people was in the chat were like, I want to know if the cow really, you know what I'm saying, really evil, like, okay, this all I'm saying. I believe they already killed Jesus. And once you read the Bible again, starting from Genesis, with the mindset, I'm going to go along with this trade game for one day and I'm going to do my research. You say, what now? Jesus was murdered in Israel. He was murdered in Israel. All right. Once they murder him, they witnessed something. Because when they killed him, it was a dramatic change in the world. If you look that up on your phone and ask Google, what the people witnessed when they finally killed Jesus? Because look, they already knew who he was. That's why they put him on trial. It was the public that said, crucify him. You mean crucify the Son of God and he preached and did miracles? And you publicly executed, man, you whipped that man. Then when you whip that man, check this out. People witnessed it. And watch what they did. When they witnessed the murder, something happened in the world, and you can Google this, because they documented it. Remember they say it was a big earthquake and some opened up and boom, boom, boom. All right. After when they buried Jesus, you know what I'm saying? Check this out. You go watch Joe Rogan and Mel Gibson. Matter of fact, I might need to do that. So basically what I'm saying, the things that I studied and was just pulling stuff up, reading from other scholars' page that got degrees and all this old stuff and ancient history. And I'm like, well, damn, it sounds like this would be the biggest cover up in the world, murder Jesus, then rewrite it. The whole creation story. Now you finna give them the Adam and Eve story. Right? Because now you got the rewriting of the history. So once you rewrite the history, now look how many people that wasn't witness what happened to Jesus. Jesus only came to Israel, bro. Right? He ain't stepped down in the United States. I don't hear about Jesus in Cuba. He only touched down in one spot and one spot only. And that was Israel. Right? Hold on. So when they killed the man, right? They started off with the Hebrew Bible in their language. And when they translated it, they started translating it in Greek and Latin when it come to us. Yeah, that make a lot of sense to me. And then, now you got, and if you look at Moses and his laws, go look at Moses' law, like, yeah, you know, I got all the 10 commandments. But if you look at other ancient books and other scholars, live way before me. I'm talking about damn near a couple of 100 years. They even saying the same thing, like, hey, you know, they when it comes to the Torah, it's the 5 books of Hebrew. Don't that go back to the Jews? The Jewish people? Look, it all go back to these people, right? This day language and this day script, only thing they just recorded their history, bro. Hold on. When I looked at the pharaohs in Egypt, this what blew my mind. Cause let me show y'all this video right here, right? If you watch my live video, you know this finna make a whole lot of sense. Check this out, y'all. Watch this. When I tell you white people were pharaohs in the north part of Africa, watch this.
You have to go to your temples for proof and validation and research and see the temples. It says the carving from the temples of Ipidasut, Karnak is called today. Sahu-Nepet, Orion was Lord of the heavens. So here we see that this is Sahu, this is Neb, and this is Pet. So our ancestors saw Orion was Lord of the heavens. They carved it on the temples, but why did they put it there? That's what we want to look at. They saw, as we go back to the scriptures, we're going to bring the scriptures in the court of law. Well, is it in the scriptures? Yes, it's in the scriptures.
And it's in the scripture. Look, this shit so cold. What if I could ring a bell when I like y'all know about the UFOs and all of this old stuff? Guess who would be able to talk to Moses if Lucifer, right? He ain't in heaven no more. He could be on Mars. He could be on another planet. And you know what I'm saying? And he could come down here anytime he want, meet these people on the mountaintop and be like, boom. Look.
In Amos chapter 5 verse 8, it says, seeketh him that maketh the 7 stars of Orion. Uh-oh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Seeketh him that maketh the 7 stars of Orion. Well, our ancestors saw that Asar, our spiritual father, and the Zep-Tepi, for our spirit to go back to him, to rise up our caress, we see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and the constellation of Orion long before it was in Amos and the scriptures was even in existence. This is the Zep-Tepi, or the first time of creation. Our ancestors saw through the constellation, through the heavenly body, through astrotheology, through the cosmos, the first divine mother and father for them to live for eternity. A set represented Sahu, called Ceres today, and Asar represented Orion. Our spiritual mother and father that we carved on the temples. Here we see the earliest story of Asar, who had an evil brother named Set. Many versions of the story, who got 72 conspirators to crucify him. Here we see this is long before the Cain and Abel story. You got it carved on the temples. And although you see it carved on the temples on the outside, still on the inside, they're still beautifully painted black. It's through this story of the union of Asar and Asar's resurrection, through the union of Asar and Aset, they have a holy child. It's told on the papyruses where the name paper came from. We see Tahuti, we did not worship animals, But Tahuti, the divine nectar, the messenger corresponding to Gabriel in the gospel, announces to the goddess of Set that she give a divine immaculate conception and virgin birth. So here you had this spiritual story where Tahuti came, who was a spiritual law, said a Set would have a holy child. This is long before Gabriel, the angel of the Lord, came through the back door and told Mary that she was going to have an immaculate conception. Now, our story.
So look, what if you find out? What if Trey Gang say, hey, it makes sense that when they show you the star system and these same people that speak in Hebrew, right? Speaking Hebrew, right? Getting all of their knowledge from the stars, from Lucifer, right? Lucifer is the morning star, right? And look how they put it in the image of a man. And you mean to tell me that you will have an Indian, or you could ask an Indian and be like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? They call them star people. Look.
It was more spiritual because Tahuti gave the call and Amun came to Asar and said that your wife Aset would have an immaculate conception. Now, I don't know about you, brother, but if your wife came to you and said an angel of the Lord in the back room came and said that she had an immaculate conception, I don't know if you go for it or not. I don't know. But that's belief. On these temples, right here, Dendera, at the temple of Het Heru, let's go inside these temples, brothers and sisters, and going inside these temples, here we can see an ancient spiritual story where Asar, here we see he's born in a manger. But one of the things that I make sure of is that we get accounts that's not going to be revealed to tour groups who come through here. That's what I try to do. Reveal the information that would normally would be passed by and not even mentioned to many of the Europeans because it would conflict with their European Western world through their own European white supremacy thinks that everything started with them, or think that their whole European Christian concept started with them. This is a Torah book. It's good to pick these little books up. And it's written by the Mormons. The Mormons who write these books. The Mormons. Okay? But the Mormons are heavily into Kemet. Now, this is a chapel. This chapel is where Heru was born, in a manger. At December the 25th. Okay. Now, here's the book. Let me read it. You have the book? That's page 18. Here's the chapel, right where you are. Is that the same chapel? Yeah. Okay, you see where I have yellow in there, right? Right. Okay, so let me read it. This court and chapel, from a special unit within the great temple, they were used for the celebration of the day of the child in his cradle.
Now, don't that sound like when you go to church? Can I go to church next Sunday? Can I be reborn again? Reborn again in this temple. And they said, who was born in this temple? Listen to this. The whole purpose of this how you finna get the European language.
A festival commemorating the birth of Horus, which coming as it did at the close of the Egyptian year, offers a curious resemblance to the Christian festival of Christmas. How could it be a curious resemblance when this predates European Christianity? What was the symbol of this temple right here? What zoomorphic form? Cow. The cow. Now, have you often wondered why the cow is always in the manger? Yeah. This is Hathor right here with the cow's ears that looked over Heru in his birth at December the 25th. Here you see a pictorial version of their painting of the European Jesus wrapped up like the mummy that was called the Carissing, that we'll get into in the lecture series, showing you right here, why is it a cow? No one had never asked, why is the cow in the manger? Because the cow was Het Heru. And where Heru was born in the manger, this was his surrogate mother, the cow. That the cow symbolically plays the surrogate mother over the European pictorial versions of the Bible that we have right here. So again, you can see where it all came from. I know this is hard for some folks, but you've come back to see it. Not one group, by the thousands who come here, is getting this like you're getting it. Just like you, I came here and the ancestors were speaking from these temples. Relieve us from religious persecution. Relieve us from the beast of the Western world.
That's right.
We are here for a total different reason that other people come back here. This is why we have to walk in the spirit of Ma'at. Leave Isfet behind, evil, and come and see the truth. Now you see the cow Hedaru over the king horse that you see right.
Now, let me ask you a question, right? If he said Horus was born here, the owl Horus, y'all remember the owl Horus? This crazy to me, right? But Horus got the same. If this supposed to be, right? Let me rephrase this. Y'all see those temples? See those writing on the walls? What if I told y'all like, damn, when Moses knew that I read in the Masonic Bible myself. Now I read this in the Masonic Bible. And it reads just like the Christian Bible that you got today. Everything what they told you what Moses did, he did it. But Moses was a Freemasonry. He was Freemasonry. If you go to Tubal-Cain, it's going to make sense when you Google Tubal-Cain. He was the one that was building, you know what I'm saying? He created all the Masonic tools. So what I believe what they was doing, they healed some Africans to Freemasonry. And this what a lodge would look like in their times. You see this? That's all I'm just saying. That's all I'm just saying. And that's how you finna get the 12 like tribe Israel. Cause once they introduce them to Freemasonry, that's why Freemasonry do not want Jesus, goddammit, be in power. Like, that's why they hate the man, bruh. Walk in the Masonic Lodge, and this would be the same things y'all would see in the Masonic Lodge. In the Masonic Lodge.
Right here. That every king that was born, like Horus, born in this chapel right here. Put this in your own mental court of law. Let's see all the evidence. And once all the evidence is presented, we can see where European Western version of Christianity copied from this. Right. And judge it for yourself.
That let me know he a Mason. That let me know he a Mason. Cause what he finna do is, you know them ain't African people that he's showing you right here. He telling the world that this people is European people. And you see the European people carved in the tombs. In the temples. You see this? Hold on. This shit's so crazy. You can go to watch this. Satan had to breed with Africans. If you put them in Freemason and give them the knowledge, look how Freemasons so advanced than any other goddamn religion that's out there. You can just go back to the pyramid and see all this. And all of that is Satan, fallen angels, that they made mankind out their own image and they had to breed. Every land they touch down, they gonna have to breed. Hold on. Look.
You've heard their side of the story? Take time out and hear your ancestors' side of the story.
See that?
We're not saying for you to believe it, but just like the court of law of Ma'at, let's put it on the Makaru. Let's put it in the witness stand of truth, justice, and righteousness on the square.
So that means if we got the European Bible, why the European ain't finna tell the European Bible tell you about the white pharaohs? Look, what? God damn it! If you go to Khufu, right? This what I figured out. The same shit what he was talking about. Look at his wife. Right? Look at this image. Right? Check him out. Watch this. Just look at the image. Look at this image. That look like who? Now this him. He the Sphinx. Crazy part about this, right? What they taught you in history school about Napoleon, or what you learned about Napoleon got anything to do with Egypt, right? Watch this. From what I was taught, Napoleon had to knock the noses off the statues, cause he didn't want nobody like, yeah, these is an African man right here. And they ain't brilliant enough to be building these structures. So we so jealous, let's get our guns and shoot the nose off the joint. Why the nose? Right? And this supposed to be the original face that's supposed to be on the Sphinx, right? You see how they look just identical? You see how they look just identical, bro? Identical. Hold on. What they said, look. They said this was between 2500 before Christ. And if I don't think it was before Christ, I believe it was 25. If this 2026, right, I believe that's when they killed him 2,000 years ago. Right? And then started off with the Adam and Eve story from the first century to right now. It all kind of match up to me. All right, look. Remember cattles amongst taxes? Whoa, wait a minute. Man, you mean to tell me these people's already had taxes going on? It makes sense. You got, guess who built the pyramid? Freemasonry. They built their own lodge. They built their own temple. I feel like Satan, when Satan gave, this is why Freemasonry loves Satan. He gave the light. Man, I can show you how to build and scrub. And you can have the world in the mystery. Right? Look at look what he looked like. Right? And look what he looked like, right? You know that's him. You know what I'm saying? You know this the king, right? King. In Cairo, Egypt, right? Look. See these? Same man. Guess who his wife was? Watch this, y'all. Let me go back to this. So look. I'm going to come back to this because y'all got to understand this, right? I can just go back one time. Ancient Egypt race controversy. Now, this is what you see on the wall. I just showed y'all, like, all right, you got this race, this race, this race, this race, right? In Egypt. The reason why I pulled this up, because Western scholars, right, when it comes to black and white civilizations, when it comes to pharaohs, and this is pharaohs only, all right, you got the Lower Egypt, you got Nubian, right? You're going to have to see where the Nubian people at, the kingdom of Kush. This is the kingdom of Kush, right? All right. Kingdom of Kush is in Africa. I mean, hold on, wait a minute. Where was this at? Hold on. All right. Now, this is a princess. Notice she got a cheetah print outfit on. Now, who y'all think this lady resemble as? Right? She's the daughter of the king. Look, you see the hair? Look at the hair. You see she got cheetah print on, right? And when you go back to my last live, then they say Tarzan was wearing a cheetah outfit on. And you know, when you go to Fred Flintstone, they got a cheetah outfit on, right? And then you can hear a joke about Richard Pryor. A joke. Watch this. Richard Pryor, Tarzan joke. Look.
What's that?
It's compounded hogwash.
Bet those weight loss meds ain't FDA approved.
Smells like snake.
Motherfuckers talking about let me out. Just give me a break. Get one of, I could get a hand on one of you motherfuckers. Oh, I'll tell you what's up. I ain't had no pussy in the club. Yes. Send me a motherfucking panda. Bitch ain't even got a pussy yet. He's wondering why we ain't got no babies. But in the jungle, if you see a rabbit, you get nervous. Because the rabbit be looking at you and I'm like, roll the window up there.
Think about the Easter Bunny. Boy, this some cold shit. When you learn some real history, you can make jokes. You know what I'm saying? And that's why those white people love Richard so much, because he know about the rabbit, Tarzan. Why is it real shit?
It's just a rabbit. Fuck you. Ain't no rabbit ever looked at me like that. And you see a lion in the jungle, that's what they look like, lions. Motherfucker be in the bush talking about. Yeah, get your ass out the car. And bring that camera with you. Because we're going to eat all that shit. I saw 3 lions chase down like a Cape buffalo. That's the baddest motherfucker on 4 legs. Except for these bitches chasing it.
Cape Buffalo, think about Cape Town in Africa. Boy, this shit finna get even more serious.
And the lioness, they work around like in teams, give signals. You know they can't talk. And the buffalo saw one of them, right? And he tipped away from the rest of the herd. What was it?
So look what race, like the Lion of Judah, and think about who is the buffalo, the cow, right? And look at that's actually a race of people of the 12 tribes of Israel. Think about the Lion of Judah and think about the buffalo and the cow, right? Boy, ain't this a cold joke? Ooh,
and then
brilliant.
2 others jumped on its ass. And the other buffalo said, hey, motherfucker didn't warn us, fuck him. And you know how the buzzards circle in the movies? These motherfuckers drove up in a truck. Talking about what it is. Cheetah, man, is the weirdest thing to see go chase something because you don't see nothing but dust. I saw 2 cheetah and it looked like they were talking about jumping on some gazelle. There you go.
Oh, the gazelles? Did I just pull all that up on the statues? Come on, man. Come on, man. You got a joke. You can't read between the jokes. Shit. This crazy.
You want to go after that herd? Say, nah, man, they too close, shit. Why don't we give them another 100 yards? How's the wife and family, man? You know, it's gonna be tourist season soon. I got an arm last year. They're about far enough. You ready? And the shit, like the gazelles and shit, hear them motherfuckers. They be eating and hear them just start running. They don't even look. Run! And the motherfucker that can't hear is in trouble. What? Cheetah! Huh? Cheetah! What? Cheetah! What you say? It's your ass! I got you! I saw one of them gazelles though make a move on a cheetah. It was embarrassing. The cheetah got pissed off too because he was ready to get the gazelle and the gazelle said, and that motherfucker fell 400 yards trying to stop and got up. I'm gonna get you, motherfucker. Make me look bad. Tarzan wouldn't last a week in Africa. Right? You say, where's Tarzan? You mean the crazy white man? He in the trees with cheetah. So where's Jane? She horned in Nairobi.
What? Look, this shit crazy, bruh. Cause once you go back and study this shit, hold on, right here. Cheetah. Look, she gonna be the daughter of Khufu, right? Hold on. She's the princess. And like the daughter oh now watch him. Shh. That don't look like a black man to me. You see what I'm saying? Man, I know they ain't ready, bro. They ain't ready cause that's how I was like, man, look. That's why you finna get mulatto. Woo, mulatto is a racially profile. So that means they were mixing in her African and European ancestries. Whoa. Whoop-de-doo. Look. So I had to start questioning this shit like, wait a minute, bro. You know what I'm saying? Look. So the Negro was breeding. Ooh, no wonder why they got to keep us enslaved, because they don't want us to find out, like, why would they choose us to be enslaved? Because that's who they were breeding with. And if I say, if we was breeding with these people, bro, I'm just saying, I ain't saying none of this shit real. I'm just saying the way they got the information out there once you start digging and reading other books and Googling and researching and doing other stuff on her, it's gonna pop up. That's why this man was telling everybody this shit. Right here. Showing you, look. This again about the cheetah, the gazelle, and the cow.
Your temples for proof and validation and research, and see the temples. It says the carving from the temples of Ipidasut, Karnak is called today. Sahu Nepet, Orion was Lord of the heavens. So here we see that this is Sahu, this is Neb, and this is Pet. So our ancestors saw Orion was Lord of the heavens. They carved it on the temples. But why did they put?
Sound like fallen angel to me, because you ain't Lord of the heaven. They won't be God. That would be sound like Lucifer came from heaven and ruling the world on the earth and telling the world, hey, here go the star system right here. And guess where they exposed all of this shit in Egypt with the pyramids? Look, there's gonna be the first Masonic temple lodge. Cause in every symbol you find in the pyramid, and you got Hollywood. Everybody know Hollywood is the Illuminati, right? I can ask everybody, like, everybody know Hollywood is Illuminati. You that there right, Trey Gang. Ain't no motherfucker gonna say, nah, they ain't Illuminati. Everybody know Hollywood is Illuminati, right? Every symbol that the Illuminati have, did it all come from Egypt? The writing on the walls? And you got Moses here in Egypt and told them, let my people go. Guess what happened to him? Look up white people slaves in Africa. And that's how, look. Man, once they was enslaved, bro, in Africa, you can look this up. I know Trey Gang saying it like, Trey Gang, I don't believe you. Well, I said it, but you can look this up and you can look at other scholars that said that. I just referred to what I saw and read, and I'm like, damn, look at this. It got to questioning now. Look. They was breeding. So white people was breeding with the Africans. And they was giving them Africans the knowledge. Hey, you want to be a Mason? We gonna boom. Look, introduce them to Freemasonry. And that's why you got Africans out here like, yeah, I'm the king and I'm the queen. We wear crowns and all this, and they all part of the royal bloodline, and the royal bloodline is Satan's bloodline. So what I see is this here. Everywhere you find the route in the Bible of all the 12 disciples, they did one thing, they finna expose them. Every land they touched down on their journey, they the ones that were building all the temples. They the one that were building all the Masonic lodges. They the one that can tell you about the stars, the moon, and the sun. And who else would have that knowledge? Right? Africans. Certain type of Africans. So when they recruit them was like, hey, they really just showed you evil. Like, look, this is good. Cause when it comes to Freemasons, they're gonna, it's like Adam and Eve story. This is good and this is evil. You know what good and evil is. Which side you want to choose? Well, I'm going to the good side. What are you going to go to? Well, I'm going to the evil side. You got two options when it comes to Mason. And one thing they require is this. You got to believe in some type of God. No matter what type of God it is, you got to believe in some type of God. Because they know who the real God and they know who Satan is, right? And they know Satan, the one that bless him. Like, look, man, we want the best fruits. We want the public, you know, when they come to our temples, they got to bring fruits, the best dishes, you know what I'm saying? We don't work. We're going to make them work, and then we're going to cut in on the taxes, like all this shit, right? Hold on. That's what I see. And then he just actually showing you that European was breeding with Africans. Just say Hollywood is known to do what? What would their biggest trick to do? If you make a black man African, like Cat Williams voice, right? You know, Hollywood, when he was exposing all those actors' wives, those comedian wives, like, yeah, have you ever noticed Hollywood when you sign up for the elites and all of this, you know what I'm saying, and you stick to the script and you know like they ply them with these white women's and you know what I'm saying and keep it. Why is nobody looking into these white women's? It's like every football player, baseball player, the first thing they finna do is get them a white girl. You know, that's like a big talk in the media streets, right? So if you look at it the way Satan looking at it, like, damn, look, you got to breed with those Africans, you know, keep your race alive. You know what I'm saying? Because if they find out what's going on, you know, because look, they found out what was going on. Certain Africans found out what was going on and put these folks in slavery, bro. In Africa, look it up. White man in slavery. Matter of fact, they were the first slave ever recorded. I didn't say this. I read this, and I'm just saying it. Guess what they was called when they was slaves? And look what they was enslaved. That's why Moses said, let my people go. Look what they got caught doing in Egypt. Look. Look what they got caught doing in Egypt. In Egypt, what Moses, look, who Moses would be begging and say, please let my people go? Was he begging the Africans? Right? If you read Moses' story, right? Moses' story. What Moses would be building, and he had to come to where, on who land? And they built the pyramid, right? In the process of building the pyramid, with Moses asking the Pharaoh, please let my people go. My God more powerful than your God. Now it's a God battle situation, right? Remember the story? And this shit lined it up. Look, this is her tomb. Hold on, I got to go to what you call, so y'all can see what I'm saying. Where I need to go? Damn, no, I gotta go right here. And go to them right quick. Damn, I know what I did. I did something wrong. Get out of this. Know that's where I started from. And I go to the Sumerians, right? When you look at Moses and you look at the Sumerian, don't Moses look just like the Sumerian? All right. Once you go to, let's go to his wives, his spouse. Look, this is wife Zechariah. Remember the Cushites? Is that why they had a problem with Moses marrying a Cushite? I'm just saying. Look. Cushite woman, right? In the Hebrew language. In Nubia. Holy shit. Oh, in Nubia? That's all I need to know. Because let me go to this. Watch this, y'all. I went to Khufu. Right? This Egypt, right? Where is let me go to his wife. Damn, I just had it up. I don't know why I'm having. Right. This the dude in the pyramid, right? And this related right back to Moses. So that means Moses And who will be the Pharaoh at that time talking about let my people go? Right? Pharaohs, right? Hold on. Golly, I can't believe. I can go to this. Hold on. Right? Watch this. If you mix it, oh, now I know what I need to do. I need to find not this, not that. Curfew. Let's go to the Nubian people. Right? The Nubian people, right? Look. Hold on. Do I need to go forward? Nah, I need to go back. Back. All right. I need to go to the white. Hold on, what the goddamn wife at? I think this is. Yep, this gonna be right here. Y'all remember the guy ISIS? Check this out. The guy ISIS, right? Everybody know who ISIS is when they come to ISIS, right? This the tune. Look, Horus, Osiris, look. Woo-wee. Whoa! What that look like? Offspring. The folks. Hold up. ISIS. Hold up. ISIS. So don't this sound like when they tried to rewrite history and they know the birth of Jesus? Do it sound like Satan doing the reenactment? Because when you go, it's the same thing. Who was buried? Who was born in those temples? Just like what you said, Tara. If she the mother goddess, that's where I'm going with the Adam and Eve. If Adam and Eve was created by fallen angels, there are goddesses that came from heaven. They came from out of heaven, right? Don't it make sense now? They will have that connection. Like, yeah, no wonder why you the goddess. If you got the ability to create humans through spiritual form and all of this old stuff, through the stars and all this, now I see why. Now I see why. Look. Now everybody know this ain't no black girl. But guess what she is? A goddess. Ain't that something? A goddess. Look. When it all boiled down, these is not black women. It understand why they would get this knowledge when they're dealing with UFOs and stuff. Look. That's why they will be wearing the sun disc. You know, everything they do is got to deal with the stars, the moon. They're just like, if you a drug dealer and you'll be around me, man, you finna see all type of drug dealer serves. You finna see junkies, cones. You finna see smokers, addicts. You finna see all this shit. Look. The Kingdom of Kush, right? When I say, hey, do this sound like fallen angels breaded with the Kushite empower? And they recruit them as Masonic people. Yeah, you know, let me teach you about Freemason. You look at the route, look what all the temple would build. Look at all the historic sites. And look where they were coming their way up, making their mark. Man, they done spread all of this all over the world. Look. She is the queen. Think about this. If Satan give you a white girl, like Hollywood give a black man a white chick, she gonna be the queen mother of the Kushite king. Look. All right. I'm trying to find my goddamn page that I was trying to find. Oh yeah, hold on, wait a minute. Do I go out of this? Give me 1 second, gang. Jewish people, boom, boom, boom. I remember that, right? Canaanite, okay, boom. I remember the Canaanites. What this is, the Hebrew language. That's what I was talking about, the Hebrew language. They go back to Lydia, right? They go back to Lydia. Once you go back to Lydia, the Hebrew language, right? With the Jews, right? The Jews, right? Boom. Then they can lead back to the Sumerians, right? So you go back all the way back to everything I said. So when they told you I need to go to I need to find that goddamn. It ain't gonna be this one. Is it this one? All right. 12 tribes of Israel. Once you look into this, all of this, right? Look into all of this. Ishmael, South Africa. Hold on. I think I might need to go back to this one. Yup, right here. Here we go, y'all. I knew it. This is it. So when I told y'all that Cain had a mark up on his head and nobody don't kill him, look what these people look like, right? You see what these people look like? Remember what I just got through talking about. Once you go to South Africa, right? Hold on. Once you go to South Africa, click. Now y'all see these people? This is what I learned. Look what they look like. Think about this. Now I got to go with her and show this. What they said about the Nubia people. What I was saying about the Nubian people. Hold on. Damn, now I got to find where I just read about the new. Oh yeah, I know where it go. Right here. Kingdom of Kush. Boom. Right here. Right. And I brought up 12 tribes, right? All these, they gonna breed. Look, they're gonna breed with the Africans and preach them Yahweh, which is that we thought it was God. Now, if you look who Yahweh really is, if you read your Bible and you like, yeah, this is our God. Yahweh, yeah, Yahweh, God right here. Huh. Connected to the 12 spies. They are recorded in the book of Numbers, a group of Israel chieftains. You know what I'm talking about? From each of the 12 tribes was dispatched by Moses to scout land in Canaan for 40 days as the future home for the Israel people. Why they know to talk to? I need to go back to this. So when I went back to be like, damn, go back to South Africa, then you finna go back to these people, which is you can find these people with the Bantu knot when it come to Cain. Right here, y'all. Hold on. Right here. There you go, right there. Now I'm finna line it up. Now I'm finna line this up, bro. And I hope I can explain this in a better way. This is why you finna get the third eye, Hindu, Buddhism. You see what I'm saying? From the mark what came when he led it, and he had to go to where? Look where these people located in the Philippines and India. India, right? India. So I'ma just hit my arrow because I clicked on it. So I went to these people. So when I went to these people, I'm like, oh, okay. Right? Let me do it like this. This how you finna see how they all bred. Hold on. I just had it right here. Is this it? Damn, I need to stop moving this John. No, it's on this John. My bad. My bad, y'all. I'm gonna hit my arrow again. So when I clicked on what I was looking for, boom, it lead back to South Africa from India. So what they had to do, go to South Africa. That's where you finna get Ethiopia from. Now look, when it comes to these people, you got these people right here. Right? In South Africa, right? Look who these people are. Right? They use click language. They speak, you know what I'm saying? There's a tribe that speak non-Bantu language. Hold up, watch this. Once you find out, like, hold up, wait a minute. is you finna match it up with the Hebrew language, and that's why, you know what I'm saying, the Hebrew language, that's why you got the Afrikaners adopted their language. They were Hunters, they were gatherers, right? So I read this. If you go back to the Stone Ages and look at the map and understand, like, oh, it's finna make sense. So look, once you go to these people, right? This who they said that put us in slavery, right? It's these people. Don't they look like us? This the crazy part about it. Look, when I looked into this, I said, oh, Zimbabwe. Richard Pryor got a joke about Zimbabwe. Remember the Cape Buffalo? Remember when Richard Pryor said, yeah, you know they were chasing the buffalo, you know, they had no gazelles, and you know what I'm talking about? Then you about the cheetah. All right. These people is on the eastern side of Cape Africa. Look who they look like. Hold on. Why they put that picture up of that girl at? Look. Man, I know, man. I used to go to school and see, man, people with their hair. You could tell they don't brush their hair because they'll get BDB. We used to call those BDB naps, right? Check this out. The Sand people and the Bushmen are the members of the indigenous hunters and culture in South Africa, the oldest surviving culture in the region. Woo-wee. Hold on. Let me go to this. Right? Look at these images. See these images? Look at the images. That village finna look kind of familiar when it comes to Shaka Zulu, right? This what they wore. The females. They drink beer. Turn food for large group of people. Look what she look like and look what she dressed like. That look like Big Mama in the kitchen. Don't that look like Big Mama in the kitchen on a Sunday? Sunday dinner. Everybody go to Big Mama house. Big Mama almost 100 years old, right? Damn, that's the same thing they did to Shaka Zulu. Ain't that the same thing they did to Shaka Zulu? Boom. That's where they got their slaves from. Boom. And some of us got their DNA in us. If you do, I highly recommend everybody get a DNA test done to see your background. At least you want to know, right? Then what if you found out you got this history? Then you man, this shit would be the most secret reveal. All right. Now let's go to this.
Put it there. That's what we want to look at. They saw, as we go back to the scriptures, we're going to bring the scriptures in the court of law. Where is it in the scriptures? Yes, it's in the scriptures. In Amos chapter 5 verse 8, it says, seeketh him that maketh the 7 stars of Orion. Uh-oh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Seeketh him that maketh the 7 stars of Orion. Well, our ancestors saw that Asar, our spiritual father, and the Zep-Tepi, for our spirit to go back to him, to rise up our caress, we see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and the constellation of Orion long before it was in Amos and the scriptures was even in existence. This is the Zep-Tepi, or the first time of creation. Our ancestors saw through the constellation, through the heavenly body, through astrotheology, through the cosmos, the first divine mother and father for them to live for eternity. A Set represented Sahu, called Ceres today, and Asar represented Orion. Our spiritual mother and father that we carved on the temples. Here we see the earliest story of Asar, who had an evil brother named Set. Many versions of the story, who got 72 conspirators to crucify him. Here we see this is long before the Cain and Abel story. You got it carved on the temples. And although you see it carved on the temples on the outside, still on the inside, they're still beautifully painted black. It's through this story of the union of Asar and Asar's resurrection, through the union of Asar and Aset, they have a holy child. It's told on the papyruses where the name paper came from. We see Tahuti, we did not worship animals, but Tahuti, the divine nectar, the messenger corresponding to Gabriel in the gospel, announces to the goddess Aset that she give a divine immaculate conception and virgin birth. So here you had this spiritual story where Tahuti came, who was a spiritual law, said Aset would have a holy child. This is long before Gabriel, the angel of the Lord, came through the back door and told Mary that she was going to have an immaculate conception. Now, our story was more spiritual because Tahuti gave the call, and Amun came to Asar and said that your wife Aset would have an immaculate conception. Now, I don't know about you, brother, but if your wife came to you and said an angel of the Lord in the back room came and said that she had an immaculate conception, I don't know if you go for it or not. I don't know. But that's belief. On these temples, right here, Dendera, at the temple of Het-Heru, let's go inside these temples, brothers and sisters, and going inside these temples, here we can see an ancient spiritual story where Asar, here we see he's born in a manger. But one of the things that I make sure of is that we get accounts that's not going to be revealed to tour groups who come through here. That's what I try to do. Reveal the information that would normally would be passed by and not even mentioned to many of the Europeans, because it would conflict with their European Western world through their own European white supremacy thinks that everything started with them, or think that their whole European Christian concept started with them. This is a tour book. It's good to pick these little books up. And it's written by the Mormons. The Mormons who write these books. The Mormons. Okay? But the Mormons are heavily into Kemet. Now, this is a chapel. This chapel is where Heru was born, in a manger, at December the 25th. Okay? Now, here's the book. Let me read it. You have the book? That's page 18. Here's the chapel, right where you are. Is that the same chapel? Yes. Okay, you see where I have yellow there, right? Right. Okay, so let me read it. This court and chapel, from a special unit within the great temple, they were used for the celebration of the day of the child in his cradle, a festival commemorating the birth of Horus, which, coming as it did at the close of the Egyptian year, offers a curious resemblance to the Christian festival of Christmas. How could it be a curious resemblance when this predates European Christianity? What was the symbol of this temple right here? What zoomorphic form? Cow. The cow. Now, have you often wondered why the cow is always in the manger? Yeah. This is Hathor right here with the cow's ears that looked over Heru in his birth at December the 25th. Here you see a pictorial version of their painting of the European Jesus wrapped up like the mummy that was called the Carissing, that we'll get into in the lecture series, showing you right here, why is it a cow? No one had never asked, why is the cow in the manger?
So why they already predicting Jesus? Like, yeah, if they already got a story like this before Jesus, that means they reenacted the whole religion and rewrote it. That's all I'm just saying. There go your proof right there. And that's why you got December talking about, yeah, that's when Jesus was born. December the 25th. What day did Jesus die on? You know, I'm seeing the light. All because I read a Masonic Bible, didn't read all of it. I just read a few scriptures and all of a sudden them about just disappeared. And it told me Moses was a Mason. The reason why they built the tower, because the people that know the truth wanted to build a tower high enough to get to where God was at, the actually true God, because what they were told on the world. And Satan said, nope, knock it down, boom. Because you're going to see. Look.
Because the cow was Heru. And where Heru was born in the manger, this was his surrogate mother, the cow. That the cow symbolically plays the surrogate mother on over the European pictorial versions of the Bible that we have right here. So again, you can see where it all came from. I know this is hard for some folks.
That's
but
why.
Come back.
They already killed Jesus.
Not one group.
So Satan put himself in the place like, I'm going to get Jesus out of here and I'm going to create the Bible. Right? And I'm going to have the world worshiping me. Because that's what I got out of all of this shit. That's what I got out of this.
By the thousands who come here is getting this like you're getting it. Just like you, I came here and the ancestors were speaking from these temples. Relieve us from religious persecution.
And look at everybody, what they look like. They look just like who, y'all? These people. See that? These people. Look. See the images? Look who in the crowd. Hold up. All the thing what they did was revealing a Masonic temple where they do sacrifice and ritual and praise Lucifer.
Relieve us from the beast of the Western world. That's right. We are here for a total different reason that other people come back here. This is why we have to walk in the spirit of Ma'at. Leave Isfet behind, evil, and come and see the truth.
Evil.
Now you see the cow Heru over the king horse that you see right here. That every king that was born.
Horus, the eye.
Like Horus born in this chapel right here.
Through an African? That would make a lot of sense to me. That's why he said, hey, y'all ain't gonna live. When he said, man can't thrive with the angels. So what he wanted to do, I'ma turn their lifespan off to 120. You ain't finna live no like thousands, you know what I'm saying, years, you know what I'm saying? And this like a and then when y'all start thinking, I'm like, well damn, this fallen angel make a whole lot of sense when you look into it. Cause when they murdered Jesus, bro, don't you know the angel was down, they were deep. You got Gabriel and Michael. Them the two angels that they said, hey, yeah, these the two top angels representing the Lord God. And it would make sense that these people be working for Lucifer and these people would be, man, let me go to this.
I'm 65, and today I'm switching from doing nothing to Tai Chi chair workouts. Hope it's worth it.
Thank you very much, Hotep family. What an honor. First.
Before, we have to use visual documentation to bring this back for other brothers and sisters to see it because they may not never make it back like you. But there were many invasions that came into Africa. When Normer, that we dealt with earlier, we talk about Normer when he reunited Upper and Lower Egypt, first defeating Scorpion, bringing together the first world government. But it spoke of the Asiatic invasions. Even back during his time, Egypt faced many invasions that came in by way of the Delta. These were the Asiatics that you see right here. Now, as I mentioned before, the Asiatics who came across the Sinai. So here we see the earliest recording of these people who came in and settled with us for a while, till they built in numbers, and then eventually attacking Egypt. This is again from...
Boy, don't that sound like something that? This is so crazy.
From Khnum-Hotep's tomb from the 12th dynastic period, right during the time of Amenhotep III. Here again, Menethos talks about, now you can see the Hyksos who came into Egypt, and Menethos said, unexpectedly from the region of the east came men of unknown race. Confident of the victory, they marched against our land. By force they took it easy without a single battle. Having overpowered our rulers, they burned our cities without compassion and destroyed the temples. All the people were treated with great cruelty, for they slew some and carried off the wives of children of others into slavery. Doesn't that sound like a familiar account? This period is documented around 1650 or 1750, right around the same time of Abraham. Now,
what?
Take a good look of the pictures that I showed earlier too. These were the Hyksos that you see right here.
White people. That's crazy. Now you can't say I'm making this up. You can't even say like, damn, you could do your research and you could bag this shit up. If you say you love Jesus, bruh, these the same people that knew Jesus would murder. And what they did when they was living, they was preaching the Messiah was coming. That's why they always say Jesus is coming. Jesus will be back. Because they already murdered him. For the people that never heard of Jesus, they had to preach it to you. So you won't see the signs and the wonders. That's when it's going to happen. That's all I'm just saying. I just read some shit that redirected my mind. I'm like, well, damn, this sound like, oh. This how they getting away? Hold up. Did it go back to the Nubians? Here go the Nubians. Once you go back to the king of Khufu and look at his wife, I need to desperately pull that up. Right? So what I'm getting out of this is what was going on. I believe they gave an African, a white woman, introduced him into Freemasonry, gave him the light and the power Just like how Hollywood do. Give a black man lights, camera, action, fame, glory. You gotta get all through the Jews, the Italians, right? So I believe this here. You got two races right here that's not African. But you got two races right here that's African. But they could be, just like this could be a Nubian. And this could be like a, if by the way they looking at, see, they were gonna throw everybody off. Cause once you submit, you'll be wearing the kilt. Right? The kilt. This like the cheerleader junk, right? So when I'm thinking, so you got the Israelite, they were connected to the Europeans, they gave him a white woman and gave him Freemasonry status, 3rd degree Masonry. They gave that man status. Then at some point of time, they were building the pyramid and when Moses, right? Mind y'all what he said about Abraham. And then once you go back to Moses, and when Moses said, hey, let my people go. So that means, do it sound like, hey, man, you done gave us some secrets. Oh, we found out the scam you running on the public people.
These were the invaders, just as you see them carved in stone right here. These are the people who came out of the Sinai. Some say from Mitanni,
right?
Some say they were Horians. These are the Temarians who were indigenous to the Nile Valley, as well as the Tanihisian brothers who were further up in the southern part of Egypt, or Kemet,
right?
Ancient Ethiopia, as some would call it. These were the Tamahu people who invaded from Libya from the west. They attacked Egypt after the 6th dynastic period.
Right.
Now, it was this brother that we showed again, Ahmose I, who finally expelled them out of our land. Now, I'm showing this in reference with the temple, how our ancestors, you're witnessing, record.
So that look like that, hey, it sounds like when they gave Freemasonry secrets to the Nubian people, right? And was like, oh, we realize what y'all got going on. We already were here thousands of years. This is a good game y'all doing, right? So let me take all your history and then we finna, boom, boom, boom. We finna run Freemasonry. Hold up, stop it right there. White man said, no, we ain't gonna do that. Cause they were finna exile the white man. That's why Moses had to beg Pharaoh. Guess who was building? Guess who was building the pyramids and the temples? Freemasonry. And they showed it to Africans, Nubians, right? And they said, hey, we finna put y'all in slavery. So whatever they had, whatever the Freemason had planned for the Africans, they reversed it and did it to them. We're gonna put you in slavery. And guess what happened? It would make sense that God called on the name of the Lord, which there would be Satan, according to how that information out there. I didn't say this. From the research, they said it. And that's how they defeated the African and switched the game back on them. And that's how we ended up in America. Keep this in mind. It was already free black men over here, Africans, Indians, all this all over here. They human traffic us and had us stand on their plateaus in the country part. Notice all slavery plantations in the country away from the city. Have you noticed that? Because when they show you images, they're going to show you a big ass plat. Nobody can see what's going on. You got this big old house. Then when you go back to like even the president house, they were living on the same, you know what I'm saying? Plantations and shit, bruh. Hold on. Check this out. I was just reading the comment. And somebody said Jesus, aka Yahshua. Jesus, aka Yahshua, was born in spring sometime, not around Christmas. Put it like this here. I bet you any kind of money, Jesus' real name is not Jesus. I believe Jesus' name is something else. Something else. He real, but his name is not Yeshua. Cause if you Google Yeshua, right? What Google gonna tell you about who Jesus Yahshua is? Matter of fact, let me type it in right quick. I'll be right back. Check this out. All right. I just put it in. Yahshua. Don't they go back to the Hebrew language? Like I was just trying to break down the Hebrew language. Yahshua, why is speaking in Hebrew? Now you understand why. Oh, okay. Yeah, Hebrew, it makes sense. Yahshua is the name, right? You can name it Joshua, you know what I'm talking about? Joshua is a given name from the Hebrew. Wait a minute now. Wait. Did I just type Yahshua in? Hold up, wait a minute. Yahshua. When you think about Easter, think about Eastern stars. Cause when it comes to Easter, they say the Easter bunny, like in Richard Pryor voice, yeah, man, them some wild goddamn bunnies. They ain't like no regular Easter bunnies. Bunnies scare me. Yeah, cause they said when they go to Jesus, don't the Easter bunny supposed to symbolize or a resurrection? Like, yeah, our restoration in you know what I'm saying, on Easter Day, right? Easter? Yeah, you were resurrected. When they say you were born, I was born December 25th. When you died, yeah, I died, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. You know what I'm talking about? I let the Google check know. But I was re-resurrected. If you died and you was resurrected in Easter, watch how this finna make all sense. If Jesus was rose out the tomb in how many days? And he was killed and murdered, and he was rose. What Easter Sunday saying? You been what? Hold up. When you looking at Yahshua, right? Check this out. I'm still gonna get backlash by what they showing
Second
you.
Temple period.
Yeah.
The name corresponds to the Greek spelling Isis, Eta Sigma Omicron, from which, through the Latin ISVS/Jesus, comes the English spelling Jesus 1, 2, with J as the sound. The Hebrew spelling Yah appears in some later books of the Hebrew Bible, once for Joshua the son of Nun, and 28 times for Joshua the high priest and other priests called Jeshua, although these same priests are also given the spelling Joshua in 11 further instances in the books of Haggai and Zechariah. It differs from the usual Hebrew Bible spelling of Joshua, Yah, found 218 times in the Hebrew Bible, in the absence of the consonant he and placement of the semivowel vav, after, not before, the consonant shin. It also differs from the Hebrew spelling Yeshu, which is found in Ben Yehuda dictionary and used in most secular contexts in modern Hebrew to refer to Jesus, although the Hebrew spelling Yah is generally used in translations of the New Testament into Hebrew 3 and used by Hebrew-speaking Christians in Israel. The name Yeshua is also used in Hebrew historical texts to refer to other Joshuas recorded in Greek texts such as
Jesus ben Ananias.
and Jesus ben Sira. 4. In English, the name Yeshua is extensively used by followers of Messianic Judaism. 5. Whereas East Syriac Christian denominations use the name Isho in order to preserve the Syriac name of Jesus. 6. The 2004 film The Passion of the Christ, which was made in Aramaic, used Yeshua as the name of Jesus and is the most well-known Western Christian work to have done so. 7. Etymology. Edit. Main article. Names and titles of Jesus in the New Testament. The Greek transliteration Eta Sigma Omicron, Isis, asterisk Jesuos, JESUS, can stand for both classical biblical Hebrew Yah, JOUA, top 2, and late biblical Hebrew Yah, JUA, bottom. This later form developed within Hebrew, not Aramaic. 8. All three spelling variants occur in the Hebrew Bible, including when referring to the same person. During the Second Temple period, Jews of Galilee tended to preserve the traditional spelling.
So, do this sound like Jesus, Yahweh? Check this out. You type Yahweh. Do this sound like Jesus? That's all I'ma say. One thing about Trey Gang, if I'm wrong, I'ma always come back and be like, damn, I was wrong. My bad, y'all. But y'all see I'm doing research. I'm still on my private journey. But if I be on to something, you know what I'm saying? If I'm on it, if you can't debunk it, and if come on. Look. Do this sound like Jesus now?
Spelling, keeping the letter for the O in the first syllable, even adding another letter for the U in the second syllable. However, Jews of Jerusalem tended to spell the name as they pronounced it, JUA, contracting the spelling to without the O letter. Later, Aramaic references to the Hebrew Bible adopted the contracted phonetic form of this Hebrew name as an Aramaic name. The name Yeshua, transliterated in the English Old Testament as Jeshua, is a late form of the biblical Hebrew name Yehoshua, Joshua, and spelled with a vav in the second syllable. The late biblical Hebrew spellings for earlier names often contracted the theophoric element Yeho to Yo dash. Thus, Yehochanan contracted to Yochanan. 8. Yeshua in Hebrew is a verbal derivative from to rescue, to deliver. 9. Among the Jews of the Second Temple period, the biblical Aramaic/Hebrew name Yah was common. The Hebrew Bible mentions several individuals with this name, while also using their full name Joshua. This name is a feature of biblical books written in the post-exilic period, Ezra, Nehemiah, and Chronicles, and was found in the Dead Sea Scrolls, though Haggai and Zechariah prefer the spelling Joshua. Strong's Concordance connects the name, Yah, in the English form Jeshua, as used in multiple instances in Ezra, Nehemiah, and 1 and 2 Chronicles, with the verb to deliver or to rescue. 9. It is often translated as he saves, to conform with Matthew 1:21 frowny face 10. She will bear a son, and you shall call his name Jesus, for he will save his people from their sins.
Golly. I'm just so hold on. Would anybody be mad at me, but like, damn, why they saying Jesus' name is Joshua, but translated to Joshua with the letter J, and everybody know when the letter J was created. You should know. Watch this. Don't it make sense that you finna actually witness the devil trickery? When I told y'all, hey man, in the Old Testament, Jesus was already murdered. They got to rewrite the whole Christian story and give you the truth. They rewrote it, but they still got to give you the truth, right? Hold on. Yahweh, let me keep playing this. Think about Jehovah. When the letter J was created. Yup, watch this.
11. The name occurs in the Hebrew of the Old Testament at verses Ezra 2:2, 2:6, 2:36, 2:40, 3:2, 3:8, 3:9, 3:10, 3:18, 4:3, 8:33, Nehemiah 3:19, 7:7, 7:11, 7:39, 7:43, 8:7, 8:17, 9:4, 9:5, 11:26, 12:1, 12:7, 12:8, 12:10, 12:24. Also in Aramaic at Ezra 5 verse 2. In Nehemiah 8 verse 17, this name refers to Joshua son of Nun, the successor of Moses, as leader of the Israelites.
Oh my God. I just hope that just woke everybody up in this joint. I just hope that just woke. I didn't say it. But what Trey Gang said, hey, I'm peeping some game here now. I don't know if this real and I don't know if this factual. But one thing I can say, I don't think the 12 tribes of Israel are black. They already killed Jesus before the Old Testament. And then you got Joshua, the son of Nun. There was a accessory of Moses as the leader of Israel. Right? Why wouldn't I don't think like, damn, the 12 tribes of Israel came from the devil. He the only, him and his people is the only angels. When he got kicked out of heaven, all 1/3 of them came down there. Jesus was already here. I don't think it was violence. I don't think it was sin in the world. I believe man can roam the earth, settle down with a woman, and raise their kids. It ain't like you gotta go to work every day. It's gonna be the same normal routine, like, boom, nature wake you up. Mother Nature wake you up in the morning. Guess what you finna do? Get out your hut, your tent, whatever you at, you hungry. First thing you finna do is hunt for food. Hunt for food, bring it back to the house. The woman prepared the food. While you hunt, The man take the son with him and leave the daughter at the house with the mother. Simple. You don't even need a job to feed your family. If you're a hunter, you'll never go hungry. So, what I'm basically saying is like, damn, if I discover or if I'm looking into something and what I'm looking at, it read like Lucifer was cast out of heaven. All because he cutting up in that junk and trying to start a war. It sounds like jealousy to me, because Jesus is already here amongst us. The real Son of God. We living amongst animals. The animals respect us. I mean, you go any type of African. If you want to go in the wilderness and go to the park ranges and all this, who you got to jump in the truck with? The park ranger, the people that was already there on the land. You know what I'm saying? So look, this is what I'm saying. Satan want to be God. Get rid of Jesus. Come with the same creation story what God already created. And spread the 12 tribes of Israel all over the world and tell the world, did you hear the good news? What good news? Jesus died for your sins. Sound like they already murdered him and they know he coming back. So the devil giving you an opportunity to be like, do you believe in Jesus or not? Yeah, I believe in Jesus. Do you believe he coming back? Yep. Goddamn. Man, them folk believe this shit, man. Look, man, look. And he coming. Man, let me get this Illuminati shit started and let me get Hollywood out there so we convince everybody that, yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Just don't think about Jesus all the time. When you do call on this name, call on this name when you heard it. On bending knee, be like, Lord Jesus, please, Lord, I've been going through so much. I went through a breakup. They want you to come to Jesus like that in sorrow. Because you misguided and understand it. But they told you, said, man, you know Jesus in you, right? And I really believe it. I just don't believe his name Jesus. I believe somebody perpetrating Jesus and living his life the way he was living it with us and other people in the world. That's what I believe now. What I'm basically saying, I don't denounce Jesus. I wish I know his real name. And I feel like if I call him Jesus, I feel like I would be praising Joshua. Look. Do this look like, hey, Moses is the leader of the Israel and we finna explain Joshua? Cause this is what Google just said. This is what Google said. Hey, Joshua was the son of Nun. But this supposed to be a God. And got the same story as Jesus. This is like what Rick Ross did. Call himself Rick Ross. A man that actually exists and was a big drug dealer. So you living Rick Ross life, explaining his life, but you done got, man, come on, bro. Know what I'm saying? Look, listen to this.
Israelites. In earlier English, where adaptations of names of biblical figures were generally based on the Latin Vulgate forms, Yeshua was generally transcribed identically to Jesus in English. The name Yehoshua has the form of a compound of Yeho- and Shua. Yeho is another form of Yahu, a theophoric element standing for the name of God. The tetragrammaton YHWH, sometimes transcribed into English as Yahweh, and Shua is a noun meaning a cry for help, a saving cry, 12, 13, 14, that is to say, a shout given when in need of rescue. Another explanation for the name Yehoshua is that it comes from the root Yad Shanain, meaning to deliver, save, or rescue. According to the Book of Numbers, verse 13-16, the name of Joshua, the son of Nun, was originally Hoshea, and the name Yehoshua is usually spelled the same, but with a yod added at the beginning. Hoshea certainly comes from the root Yasha, Yad Shanayan. In the Hiphael form, the yod becomes a vav, and not from the word a. 15. In the 1st century, Philo of Alexandria, in a Greek exposition, offered this understanding of Moses' reason for the name change of the biblical hero Jehoshua/Joshua son of Nun from Hosea, similar to Hoshea, meaning he rescued.
Watch how I'm finna expose this. Didn't they say in the 1st century? Did they say, hold on, in the 1st century, this man right here was a Hellenist Jewish philosopher, right? Who lived in Alexandria in Rome province of Egypt? Hold on, wait a minute. You mean to tell this man lived in Alexandria in Rome province of Egypt? This the 1st century, right? First century. Everybody know what was going on in the 1st century. Is this a cover up? I'm finna show you right now. Be right back. Check this out. Was Yahshua? Hold on. No. Let me stop it right there. Hold
According
up.
to Chaucer,
Hold on. Nope. Hold on. Watch this. This the 1st century, right? Watch this. Was Jesus born in the 1st century?
according to biblicalarchaeology.org, even though Dionysius Exiguus calculated his date for the year in which Jesus was born in the 6th century, it was not until the 8th century that it became widespread.
Damn. Golly. Did they say Jesus was not born in the 1st century? But I could have sworn I went live months ago and was like, Jesus was born in the 1st century. Look. So look, he was born around the 4 BC or earlier, which that's finna go back to the 1st century. He was birthed between the 6th century and the 4th century. Smell like a cover. Hold on. In a tradition dating back to the birth often associated with the early 1st century. Confirming he was born that started of the first. Oh man, you see, they said he wasn't born in the 1st century and turn around in the same answer and say he was born in the century. Man, I'm cooking right now. I just hope the way I'm cooking, I hope everybody like the flavor, like the meat. You know what I'm saying? Tell me how it tastes. Like, you know how Tizonism, you know that Tizonism dude? Shit falling out the bones, ain't it? Tizonism. Then when you go to what Jesus looked like, you know he was born in Israel. Why do I got to go back to the 12 tribes of Israel? On the wall. And said what? Hold on, now I gotta go to this one. Is this it right here? This one I just came out of. Egyptian on the wall, and I said, look, y'all, who they look like when they come to these people, right? Look.
Rescued. To Yehoshua in commemoration of his salvation. And Iota to Sigma Omicron Upsilon refers to salvation of the Lord, Iota to Sigma Omicron Upsilon, or Isis being the Greek form of the name, Eta Sigma Omicron Delta Sigma Mega Titer Alpha Kappa Upsilon Rho Omicron Upsilon. On the change of names 21.121:16. Similarly, the Septuagint 17 renders Ben Sira as saying, in the Greek form of the name, Iota to Sigma Omicron Upsilon, the son of Naui, Yehoshua ben Nun, who according to his name became great unto the salvation/deliverance of his chosen ones, Eta Sigma Omicron Nu Alpha Upsilon. Sigma γένετο κατ' ταύνομα το μέγας πισωτηρίκ λεκτνατό, Ben Sara 46 1-2. However, Ben Sira originally wrote in Hebrew in the 2nd century BC, and the only extant Hebrew manuscript for this passage has in his days, not according to his name, which would be in Hebrew, 18, and thus does not comment on the name Yehoshua.
That's how they knew to preach about Jesus coming back in the 1st century if they already murdered him. Do you see what I'm saying? Won't that make sense now? Like, damn, when you were preaching the Bible, because guess when the Bible came into play? Watch this. Boy, this finna spill all the tea in the world. Watch this, y'all. When was the Bible created? Hold on. Let me get an accurate source. Hold on. Matter of fact, let me do it like this here. When the Bible was created in the 1st century?
According to Wikipedia.org, internal evidence within the texts of the 27-book New Testament canon suggests that most of these books were written in the 1st century CE. The first book written is thought to be either the Epistle to the Galatians, written around 48 CE, 3, or 1 Thessalonians, written around 50 CE. 4.
So you got, if Jesus was born, look, a cover up in the 1st century. Look, in the 2nd century. Shrines of the book in Jerusalem. The older texts in the Christian Bible, including the text dated back to the 4th century? So then Trey Gang just proved to y'all, but like, look, if they murdered Jesus 2,000 years ago, and after when they murdered him, sometime in the 1st century, they already got the Bible, boom, 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 and look how they will be living in the, whoa. The songs of the sea. Then that's why they discovering all of these Masonic temples, pyramids and shit. Look. Joshua. I'm so curious. I want to know about Joshua now. Since I believe, well, I ain't gonna say I believe, I'm thinking, is Joshua trying to portray as Jesus? Because we just heard the breakdown. Let me do it like this. All right, let's go to Joshua's story in the Bible. Be right back. All right. Let's go to Joshua. Right? And let's read this out loud. Since Joshua is associated with Yahweh, right? Keep this in mind. I didn't say this. They said this. And this is what they said about Joshua. And that's why they had to change the name. And when you find out when the letter J was invented. All right.
Contents. Hide. Top. Name. Biblical narrative. Historicity. Joshua, Joshua, also known as Yehoshua, Hebrew. Yua, Tiberius.
What? What the fuck out the top? Did I just, oh, we. Did somebody say in the chat, man, Jesus is Yahweh? Why the Old Testament said Joshua is Yahweh? I didn't say it. Them folks said it. Look. So the same person that said Joshua is the one that was fighting the angels in the Old Testament, don't it sound for me like, well, damn, if they perpetrating Jesus and Joshua and doing all this, what this sound like?
Tiberian, Iua, Li. Yahweh is salvation. Jehoshua, B. 2, 3, or Josue, 4, was Moses' assistant in the books of Exodus and Numbers, and later succeeded Moses as leader of the Israelite tribes in the book of Joshua of the Hebrew Bible. 5. His name was Hoshe, Halet. Save. 6. The son of Nun, of the tribe of Ephraim, but Moses called him Yehoshua, translated as Joshua in English, 7, the name by which he is commonly known in English. According to the Bible, he was born in Egypt prior to the Exodus. In Numbers 13:1.
Remember the story? Y'all remember the story about this? Look, check this out. I ain't saying none of this shit. I'm letting Google tell y'all this.
1. The Hebrew Bible identifies Joshua as one of the 12 spies of Israel sent by Moses to explore the land of Canaan. After the death of Moses, He led the Israelite tribes in the conquest of Canaan and allocated lands to the tribes. According to biblical chronology, Joshua lived some time in the Bronze Age. According to Joshua 24 verse 29, Joshua died at the age of 110. Joshua holds a position of respect among Muslims, who also see him as the leader of the faithful following the death of Moses. In Islam, it is also believed that Yusha bin Nun, Joshua, was the attendant of Moses mentioned in the Quran before Moses meets Khidr. Joshua plays a role in Islamic literature, with significant narration in the Hadith. 8-9. Name. The English name Joshua is a rendering of the Hebrew Yehoshua and is mostly interpreted as Yahweh is salvation, wink with a frown 10-11, although others have also.
Damn, when you ask people about what's God's name, what's Jesus' name? Well, you know, Jesus' name Yahweh or Yahshua. And they speaking this in Hebrew language. And if you look at what I see, yeah, we cook. We cook.
Alternatively interpreted it as Yahweh is lordly. 12. The theophoric name appears to be constructed from a combination of the tetragrammaton with the Hebrew noun, modern, Yah, Tiberian, Y with Macron, meaning salvation, wink with a frown 13, 14, 15, 16, derived from the Hebrew root, ys, meaning to save / help / deliver, 17, 18. Other theophoric names sharing a similar meaning can also be found throughout the Hebrew Bible, such as that of the son of David, Law, whose name means, My El, God, is salvation, 19, 20. Jesus is the English derivative of the Greek transliteration of Yehoshua via Latin. In the Septuagint, all instances of the word Yehoshua are rendered as Eta Sigma Omicron, Jesus, the closest Greek pronunciation of the Imperial Aramaic, Yah. 21, 22, 23, 24. Thus, in modern Greek, Joshua is called Jesus son of Naui, ta Omicron nu alpha epsilon, 2 na, to differentiate him from Jesus. This is also true in some Slavic languages following the Eastern Orthodox tradition, e.g., Iisus Navim, Isis Navin, in Bulgarian, Serbian, and Russian, but not Czech. Biblical narrative. See also History of Ancient Israel and Judah. The Exodus. Moses blesses Joshua before the high priest, watercolor circa 1896 to 1902 by James Tizot. Joshua was a major figure in the events of the Exodus. He was charged by Moses with selecting and commanding a militia group for their first battle after exiting Egypt against the Amalekites in Rephidim, 25, in which they were victorious. He later accompanied Moses when he ascended biblical Mount Sinai to commune with God. 26. Visualize God's plan for the Israelite tabernacle and receive the 10 Commandments. Joshua was with Moses when he descended from the mountain, heard the Israelite celebrations around the golden calf. 27. And broke the tablets bearing the words of the commandments. Similarly, in the narrative which refers to Moses being able to speak with God in his tent of meeting outside the camp, Joshua is seen as custodian of the tent, tabernacle of meeting, when Moses returned to the Israelite encampment. 28. However, when Moses returned to the mountain to recreate the tablets recording the 10 Commandments, Joshua was not present, as the biblical text states, No man shall come up with you. 29. Later, Joshua was identified as one of the 12 spies sent by Moses to explore and report on the land of Canaan. 30. And only he and Caleb gave an encouraging report, a reward for which would be that only these two of their entire generation would enter the promised land. 31. According to Joshua 1:1. 32. God appointed Joshua to succeed Moses as leader of the Israelites, along with giving him a blessing of invincibility during his lifetime. 33. 34. The first part of the book of Joshua covers the period when he led the conquest of Canaan. Conquest of Canaan. Main article. Book of Joshua. Joshua commanding the sun to stand still upon Gibeon by John Martin, 1816. At the Jordan River, the water.
Did you mean to tell me these people, bruh, got power over the sun. And how would they be? Look, guess what I found out? I was looking up some history that didn't have nothing to do with the Bible that I thought. And somebody was on YouTube and was talking about this same event that extended the sun. This how, bro, think about, y'all remember heart operation that they controlled the weather, the sun, and all of these old stuff? Right? Remember the heart? Match this up with the harp, and who trying to play Jesus as we know, but in the Old Testament, do it sound like Joshua was a spy and got plans to perpetrate himself as Jesus? God appointed Joshua? Look.
Waters parted, as they had for Moses at the Red Sea. The first battle after the crossing of the Jordan was the fall of Jericho. Joshua led the destruction of Jericho, then moved on to Ai, a small neighboring city to the west. However, they were defeated with 36 Israelite deaths. The defeat was attributed to Achan taking an accursed thing from Jericho and was followed by Achan and his family and animals being stoned to death to restore God's favor. Joshua then went to defeat Ai. The Israelites faced an alliance of 5 Amorite kings from Jerusalem, Hebron, Jarmuth, Lachish, and Eglon. At Gibeon, Joshua asked the Lord to cause the sun and moon to stand still so that he could finish the battle in daylight. According to the text, the sun stopped in the middle of the sky and delayed going down about a full day. This event is most notable because there has been no day like it before or since when the Lord heeded the voice of a man, for the Lord fought for Israel. 35. The Lord also fought for the Israelites in this battle, for he hurled huge hailstones from the
Lord, and they were calling Jesus the Lord in the New Testament. Why they saying this in the Old Testament? That's all I'm just saying. Sound like Joshua trying to be Jesus, and he the son of the Lord. Why this? He the son. Look.
The sky which killed more Canaanites than those which the Israelites slaughtered. From there on, Joshua was able to lead the Israelites to several victories, securing much of the land of Canaan. He presided over the Israelite gatherings at Gilgal and Shiloh, which allocated land to the tribes of Israel, Joshua 14 verses 1-5 and 18:1-10, and the Israelites rewarded him with the Ephraimite city of Timnath-Heres, or Timnath-Serah, where he settled, Joshua 19 verse 50. According to the Talmud, Joshua in his book enumerated only those towns on the frontier. See death. Joshua's tomb in Kifl-Haris near Nablus, West Bank, on Joshua's Yahrzeit 2007. Joshua's tomb in Jordan. When he was old and well advanced in years, 36, Joshua convened the elders and chiefs of the Israelites and exhorted them to have no fellowship with the native population, because it could lead them to be unfaithful to God.
Whoa! Hey, for everybody that's in the chat, when I say this, I just want y'all honest answer on this. Trey Gang, I think you own to something. Are you misguided? Thumb me if I'm on to something. Thumb me down if I'm misguided. And I'm going to work even more harder in trying to figure this out. Because I'm not a quitter. I'm a hard hitter. You come out. And I'm going to find out. I'm going to find out. This sounds like to me Joshua trying to perpetrate Jesus. And Moses got the 10 commandments. And that's how you finna sound like a murder cover up, and you need to convince. Don't fellowship with the native population because it could lead them to be unfaithful to God, which it will be the devil. Like, you know what I'm saying? If you got the devil you got Satan in the Bible claiming to be the God, and then you got Joshua from his bloodline, right? Talking about, yeah, you know, I'm the real Jesus. You know, I'm going to tell you about this in the Old Testament because we already murdered him. This is where I'm looking at it. You know what I'm saying? Hold on, watch this. Just let these people tell it. These words didn't come out of Trey Game mouth. I'm not a goddamn scrawler. You know what I'm talking about? I'm not a pope. I'm not a deacon, preacher, you know what I'm saying? I'm none of this. But I'm saying what they said. This didn't come from Trey Gang, this came from them. And if I say, hey, it came from them. You see this in the Old Testament. You see it in the Old Testament. Somebody perpetrating to be Jesus. Somebody perpetrating to be Jesus and change his name to Jesus. Because if you find out Jesus' real name, and just say if you find out Jesus' real name and you find out a murder that was recorded in the same manner of Jesus, and you be like, wait a minute, they got the dates on her. Is this when they killed Jesus? If you find out like, damn, if they killed Jesus then you will understand the whole 12 tribes of Israel. And then you will see why the devil wants you to believe, yeah, y'all were black. Yeah, over there in Egypt, and this in Africa, yeah. That's y'all goddamn pyramid there. Y'all built it. Nah, we didn't necessarily build it now. We helped build it. But you gave us the blueprint. Because you said you came from the stars, the moons, and all this shit. And look, Africa was already civilized. Everybody in the world was already civilized. The white man was highly advanced than the Africans because they got the upper hand. Lucifer told them good and evil. Only thing you just got to do, go to Africa. Boom, breed with some of them. Sacrifice your daughter to them. Get that royal bloodline because we on their land. If we give them Freemason history, we can establish a certain part of the land. That's why they building all these pyramids and you know what I'm talking about. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. Watch this. You can even watch other YouTubers. And I got it all on my playlist right now. When I get through playing this shit, I want everybody to drop your honest opinion. Do this sound like Joshua is playing Jesus? And that's why they had to change his name from you know what I'm saying, like to match Joshua cause of the letter J. And it's the 6th book in the Hebrew Bible. Everybody know what 6 means. I wouldn't know none of this shit if I didn't read books and research outside the Bible. Because I'm so curious. In the Bible telling you about the fall of Jericho. This let me know that when they killed Jesus, I see why these folk were going through hell. This whole 12 tribes of Israel, they were going through hell to achieve what Satan said, hey, keep it going. I'm going to protect you at all costs. We're going to win. We on the earth. And we got a time limit. So let's get rid of Jesus and bring back idols. Let's worship idols, statues, and stones, and let's build our temples. Because when you study Jesus, who Jesus came to preach to? The public. The one that Joshua, right? Not Jericho, but Joshua. And these folks said, don't socialize. With who? With the public. Because it's going to have lost faith in the devil, a.k.a. the God, the architector that created all of these pyramids and you know what I'm saying, and all this stuff right here. This is what I got out of this. This is what I got out of that, bro. Play it.
God. 37. At a general assembly of the clans at Shechem, he took leave of the people, admonishing them to be loyal to their God, who had been so mightily manifested in the midst of them. As a witness of their promise to serve God, Joshua set up a great stone under an oak by the sanctuary of God. Soon afterward he died, at the age of 110, and was buried at Timnath-Heres, in the hill country of Ephraim, north of Mount Gash. 38. Historicity. See also the Exodus section Historicity and History of Ancient Israel and Judah. Current mainstream opinion. The prevailing scholarly view is that the Book of Joshua is not a factual account of historical events. 39. 40. The apparent setting of Joshua is the 13th century BC. 41. Which was a time of widespread city destruction, but with a few exceptions. Hazor, Lachish. The destroyed cities are not the ones the Bible associates with Joshua, and the ones it does associate with him show little or no sign of even being occupied at the time. 42.
Whoa! So if that's the case, that means they already murdered Jesus and goddamn it and cover up the crime scene. That's what I got out of that. Look.
"42. Given its lack of historicity, Carolyn Pressler, in her commentary for the Westminster Bible Companion series, suggests that readers of Joshua should give priority to its theological message, what passages teach about God, and be aware of what these would have meant to audiences in the 7th and 6th centuries BCE. 43.
Then them folks even warning you, like, look, hey, when it comes to the audience, right, guess what it's gonna be in the 6th century and the 7th century. Look how like when it comes to Kaniga Jenkins case. Everybody know about Kaniga Jenkins case. It's still a cover up right today because they still covering it up because you will have like YouTuber with big channels, they got secrets and know some things. They gonna keep putting out video like whatever happened to Kaniga Jenkins. Oh, you know, when they go back to the police report, they said Kanita Jingle was last seen by her friends and she was at a hotel party. And when she left out the room, they said they had to go back and get the keys and the phone. And they think, you know, you going for this shit, right? But listen to this.
43. Richard Nelson explained that the needs of the centralized monarchy favored a single story of origins, combining old traditions of an exodus from Egypt, belief in a national god as divine warrior, and explanations for ruined cities, social stratification and ethnic groups, and contemporary tribes.
Sounds like you still coming at the crime scene because now you got to knock down. It would make sense that if you built temples, it would make sense that you got to knock these temples down and stage wars like in Iran, Afghanistan, and say it's about the oil, but knock down those temples and destroy them. That's what I got out the military war. And I said, no wonder why every war footage you get, look where they will be fighting it on historical land sites. And once you get the historical land site, they be shooting on a battlefield. This is like trade game in the military having a shootout because the military is on my land and I got opium on my land, mushrooms on my land, medicine on my land, poison on my land. And Trey Gang is known for, hey, I got this medicine right here. I can provide you with medicine. Check this out. I got all the best fruits in the world. Let me get that too. Hey, you believe in Jesus? Who is Jesus? Let me give you the book, the Hebrew Bible. And Jesus came here after when they murdered him. This after when they murdered him. Just imagine after when you realize, damn, they actually murdered Jesus and they knocking on your door like, hey, have you ever heard the good news? What good news? Did you know that Jesus came here and died for your sins? Like, what? Explain to me about Jesus. And then this story finna touch you, be like, damn, I love Jesus so bad. And they taught you the truth. They told you how they murdered him, where they did it at, and the reason why they murdered him, and what was the motive. Right? So when they did that, it would make sense. Murder Jesus and murder all the Christians that was witnessing the Son of God actually getting crucified, and they got exposed and they had to depopulate the people that saw it and keep the word from spreading. But it was something in their world when they killed Jesus, and that made Jesus even more popular, and the man's name is spread. So what Satan got to do? Give you another creation story and say, hey, Jesus is coming. Who is Jesus? Jesus died for your sins. Jesus, you know what I'm saying? So they basically telling you how he died, and you got the murderer telling you how he died, and this when he coming back. Crazy shit to me. Right? That's what I'm getting out of this. And I'm not just saying shit is accurate. I'm just saying the thing that I read, and once you read, you don't have a choice but to think. And the number one thing the white man told the world, black people don't read. If you want to hide something from black people, what they say, put it in a book. That's what they said. And I'm a firm believer on that. Cause this right, I'm a believer that like, man, they said really black people really actually don't read. Cause they don't want you to think. And that's dealing with your third eye. They don't want you to think, bruh. Just let everything go out your ears, you know what I'm talking about? And it's like for what I get out of this, I believe Jesus murder. The reason why they killed him is because they know where he's from. Go back to the Passion of Christ. Matter of fact, I might need to go to Joe Rogan on this shit. And I want y'all to read between the lines. Damn, that's why Mel Gibson knows so much and got that backlash from the Passion of the Christ. Hold up. Joe Rogan, Mel Gibson. Watch this shit. Here we go. Let's go to this shit. Now I want y'all to listen closely what Mel Gibson's saying, right? How would he know all of these things if you don't look up the 12 tribes of Israel? And I show y'all, look at the noses. Look. If you look at the noses, clean cut, and I just show, look at the statues of the 12 tribes of Israel, right? Hold on, let me show y'all 12 tribes of Israel. Watch this. This finna be crazy. Tell me, is I'm owning some or is I'm capping at this point? Watch this. Let me pull it up, gang. Right here. Here we go, right here. This is all I just want to show. Is Trey Gang capping? Look what they all look like. Watch this. Check this out. Boom. Just shave your beard, Joe Rogan. Shave your beard. Clean cut. Because if Joe Rogan grow his beard out, your identity exposed. Look at these people. Look who they look like. No wonder why they got so much knowledge on this shit, bruh. Look. Look at this. 12 tribes of Israel. I thought they was black. What if I read something and be like, damn, I've been tricked. I want to tell the world, like, hey, I want to show y'all this. And maybe it would help you out in your, you know what I'm saying? Look. Look who they all look like. 12 tribes of Israel. Just imagine the 12 tribes of Israel know the truth about Jesus, and that's why you got. And look what they running. They gonna run religions, rich food, Eastern settlers, wise tribe, loyal warriors, priests. Levi, Simon, a scared tribe, and goddamn it, firstborn with the line of Judah. That's all I'm saying. So don't hate me if Trey Gang say, hey, I read the Bible, I went to church, and they taught me some things, and I looked into it myself and be like, hey, wait a minute, what if I was going to church the whole time and find out it was all a lie just to cover up a murder for Jesus? I got to love that man, bruh. That's all I'm saying. And I wish I know his real name. Look, that means you got some history out here about Jesus' murder. And you can't erase that because you already put it out. So what you had to do is match the same time when Jesus got murdered. Look what they would do after the murder. Hey, yeah, we the real chosen people of God. Got Jesus out here. Yeah, we the real. Woo! That's why they don't let president grow beards no more. That's why when you see, and I'm not a racist. Everybody know I'm not a racist when I say this. I'm just peeping game of what's going on. That people, we would never, I look at it like that, we would never be racist if we know the truth, to be honest with you. Racism was invented to distract people, bruh, of the actual truth of Jesus. And Kanika Jenkins showed me this shit. You see what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying. Look who Joe Rogan look like. Look who all of them look like. Somebody know the truth. This how the devil work. We can show you the truth in plain sight. But we can lie to you at the same time. Right? Hold up. Watch what he finna say.
Tennessee.
It's funny.
And you think, Tennessee, what's going to happen there?
It's funny.
Maybe it would take 2 weeks.
Hold on,
but never was it known that White Smoke acted more like a pig, you know. It's terrible.
Hold on.
Terrible. Wallowing in my own mud.
So when you find out that wars are irresponsible.
It's funny that Joe Rogan got a NASA shirt on dealing with the stars in the orbit. Oh, is an eye-opening that, damn, if Trey Gang say, hey, Lucifer created his people out of his own kind, and they could communicate with stars, moons, they know about NASA. Joe Rogan could tell you everything about NASA, stars, and everybody gonna watch this shit. By him wearing that shirt, that just let me know, oh, that's why you having a conversation about Jesus. We just went to the stars of NASA. That's crazy to me. Look, you love the warrior? What 12 tribes of Israel. And why I just had the 12 tribes of Israel right here? 12 tribes of Israel, right? You love the warrior? Who the warrior? Now you know who the warrior is. This crazy to me. Let's see how he finna touch on Jesus. If what I just exposed, I ain't even gonna say I exposed. I'm still learning and thinking. That's what I'm gonna rephrase. I'm still learning and thinking. What if I read something and said, okay, Lord Ward, this go back to the same people that got ties to the stars, the moon, Lucifer, and you got him saying this, and he looked just like these people, right? And I'm just saying, what if he know the history, but do not know all the history? Or what did he know the history, And he touched the feathers about Passion of the Christ and all those movies he came out with. What if you look at Mel Gibson movie now and be like, damn, you could take it in one or two ways. Is this a man telling everybody the truth? Or is this a man is still keeping the cover up? Because he did make Passion of the Christ, right? Check this out. Listen to this. Whoa! You dated by the rivals of your pen. That's what I did. That's what exactly I did. Because I want to know what was happening at that time when Jesus was born. When I looked into it, when I read the Bible, Jesus was born in Bethlehem. Yeah. He was born in the manger. Yeah. Jesus was, you know what I'm saying, raised here. You know, yeah. Jesus fled here. Yeah. Once you find out the truth, all I'ma say here, Mel Gibson know the truth. He know the truth. He know the truth so well. Right? Him and Joe Rogan. They look just like those statues in Egypt when the African was breeding. That's all I'm gonna say.
And I thought it's kind of like
My point exactly. I won't even be surprised where hell actually located. What if hell is not beneath the ground? What if hell is actually located like where heaven is? Because when you read the Bible, they said when you go to heaven and the people that made it in heaven could look out the gates and see the ones that don't make it in. Huh? Huh? So is hell down beneath the ground? I don't think so. I think it's right next door. Like cross the street from heaven. Cause they said the ones that make it into heaven could see the ones that's going to hell. And they're gonna be on the gates on outside of the heaven, looking in, begging to ask Jesus to open the gate. Now I see why they gotta ask Jesus come in. Man, you done killed my son. Now you gotta go through my son to get to her. And it would never happen. Cause from the ones that were misguided, they automatically get in her. But you know the truth of good and evil. The public don't. They gotta understand what good and evil is, but they the one got a bigger understanding. So that's why God say, man, look, these the people that will be coming into heaven, and these the people that gonna go to hell. And guess how many people they gonna be going to heaven? Not that many. Shit, look, listen to this. So to make a long story short, let's just say I'm thinking right now. What if I say, hey, if you could trace back Joe Rogan and be like, damn, Joe Rogan, man, is you a part of the 12 Israelites? Because it would make a whole lot of sense why you be the biggest podcaster, that you got the biggest movie producer about God, that you could interview all the elites, and for the public, the ones that's like trying to find God, religions, you know what I'm saying? We struggling. And they know the truth the whole time. So we would actually depend on these people, be like, damn. Then they give us history like the truth. Like, man, these folks
On
got
this
some
one.
real
Yeah, there are
conversation.
things.
Like, boy, that's what I'm talking about. This is shit that I want to hear. But these will be the same people that will tell you the truth. Why they telling you a truth in history? They also lying to you at the same time. I feel like this here. Tell everybody about your background and your culture. No wonder why God said, hey, I'm going to give y'all power over the cameras, the fame, the TV, all of this. You're going to run the world.
Things that speak.
Because that's in your DNA. If you a pit bull, you know the lock. You know what I'm saying? Lock down, because this in your nature. Why would you be thinking about Vikings? Go to Viking history. Holy shit. Let's go to Viking history.
Viking Age Picture Stone, Gotland, Sweden. Part of a series on Scandinavia. Show. Countries. Hide. History. Chronological history. Prehistory. Stone Age. Bronze Age. Iron Age. Pre-Roman Iron Age. Roman Iron Age. Migration period. Trade. Culture. Out 800 to 1050 CE was the period during the Middle Ages when Norsemen known as Vikings undertook large-scale raiding, colonizing, conquest, and trading throughout Europe and reached North America. 1, 2, 3. The Viking Age applies not only to their homeland of Scandinavia, but also to any place significantly settled by Scandinavians during the period. 3. Although few of the Scandinavians of the Viking Age were Vikings in the sense of being engaged in piracy, they are often referred to as Vikings, as well as Norsemen. 4. Voyaging by sea from their homelands in Denmark, Norway, and Sweden, the Norse people settled in the British Isles, Ireland, the Faroe Islands, Iceland, Greenland, Normandy, and the Baltic coast.
And guess who the Vikings name after when it come to the Norsemen? Watch this. The Nordic Angels.
According to LinkedIn.com, Nordic Angels is an initiative looking to unite the angels in the Nordic startup ecosystem to increase both bandwidth and leverage.
See that? The Nordic Angels. Fallen Angels. The Anunnaki. The Nordics. Right? And all these fallen angels, guess what they said who the Nordic angel looked like? These people, right? Now let's go back to this.
But
So what they would be covering up then? A murder? Like I said. Man, I'm gonna repeat this live tomorrow. Stay tuned. Like, share, and subscribe. God damn it. And let's see what can we learn. Before I get out of here, I ain't saying none of this is fact, none of this is fiction. I just read some and studied some things that got me wanting to question. Like, hey, I read something about the 12 tribes of Israel, and I feel like I was tricked. And I feel like that these people, they can make movies, right? Can make movies about God, keep the cover up going, like the Kanika Jinga case. When people think of a cover up, they think about a cover up just what they saw on the footage. And it was just, they covered this up on September the 9th. And if you looking the way I'm looking at it, you like, damn, the cover up is still covering it up because you got YouTube still talking about it, Instagram, TikTok, but with a different narrative to put you in conspiracy mode. It's the reason why the public would never beat the internet in the game if you depend on the internet to find out the truth through YouTubers that know the truth. This ain't like Joe Rogan know the real truth. And that's why he said what he said. Hey, don't look into the 12 tribe Israel. And if you do, this do not got to do with what particular race. So what I got out of that, think about race mixing. And think about the control of the religion. You still got to cover up. If you look at all the popes right now, who the Pope look like? Do the Pope would look like him? Mel Gibson. You see what Mel Gibson look like? Watch this. Let me go to it right quick. Right back, y'all. All right. I just pulled it up, right? Look at that nose. Thin lips. The Pope wrong. Right? Then you go to all the popes. The Catholic priest that Jesus personally was pointed Peter as the head of the church. The Catholic sound like a cover up to me. Because if Jesus was already dead in the first century, now you see why you got the popes and the 12 disciples knew Jesus was dead, but preaching the gospel, how Jesus died for everybody's sin. That means everybody gonna find out Jesus was murdered and he died for our sins, right? But nobody never looked into the motive why they crucified him. Cause the man said, hey, you see me, you see the Father. Guess what they did? Paint Jesus in his own image. The things that I've learned, I don't even think Jesus looked like this. I believe Jesus came as a black man like what you will find out and said, hey, the real God looked like who? Africans? And Satan looked like who? According to all the scriptures in the Bible, according to Google AI, according to when you trace all the Hebrew, why go back to Europeans? Now I can see why they got to depict him. Yeah. That's what I see. The Pope. Jesus was read through the Jesus narrative, and name in the title was in the 1st century as a Jewish preacher. Wait a minute. Jesus was a Jewish preacher and religious leader of the Roman province of Judah. Whoa! No wonder why they said the man is a Jew. Hi, y'all. Hey, Trey ain't love y'all, man. Y'all be cool and y'all safe. And I'm going to do another part of this. So, boy, this finna get interesting. I hope that y'all can see the light. I hope that if you do disagree with me on this, all I just ask is research this for yourself. Just research. And once you research it, put the timestamp and tell me, be like, damn, when it come to Peter, right? Peter. Look who Peter would look like. If I say, hey, I'm tracing these people history, and Peter looked just like who? Mel fucking Gibson with the same big nose that Napoleon got to shoot off on the statues that's related back to them. So that means, hey, man, we finna get exposed. We got to keep the world in doubt, man. Go over there and destroy those historic sites. So when the people go over there, they're just gonna see half of the building, half of the truth. So when you go to the historic site, you're gonna see the truth, half of it. You didn't even see no lie when you go to the historic site. But when it come out they man and they mouth, hey, yeah, you know this was this, and you be like, damn, I never heard that before. Like, damn, you told a lie. Look. Whoa! Oh, wee! Man, I read totally between the lines. Guess who Mel Gibson would look like? Won't he? Don't they got the same? Boy, they look like twins. Hold up. This the crazy part about it. Let's go to the Prime Minister of Israel. Hold on, before I show y'all that, let me show y'all this. When I go back to the Pope, look at this Pope and look at this Pope. They look just alike, don't it? Same lips, same nose, cheekbone, ears, hair, line. And this Pope was what? Him in 1792 to 1878, he was the Pope. Look just like who? To this Pope. Let's go to this Pope. 2025. No wonder. Same fucking thing. Don't they look just alike? Watch this. Check this out. Look who they finna look like. Now, where you at? Prime Minister of Israel.
According to JogrenJosh.com, list of Prime Ministers of Israel. Explore the complete list of Israel Prime Ministers from 1948 to 2025.
Well, I be damned. Well, I be damned. How is all of this possible? You see those big old earls? Same shit. And go to the statue of the Pharaoh. Watch this. I gotta go to King Ramsey. Hold on, y'all. King Ramsey.
According to NebraskaJudicial.gov, Canam Ramsey of Kearney was appointed District Court Judge for the 9th Judicial District of Nebraska on February 7, 2025.
That ain't the one
According
I
to
want.
government.
This one I want right here. When you go to King Ramsey, right? Look. King Ramsey was a pharaoh. Once you go to King Ramsey, right? Look at the statue. See how they depicted him? All right. You see how they depicted him with the owl right behind him? Once you go back to all of this, watch this. How Hollywood finna be cold. Watch this. The colossal statue of King Ramses II. Do that look like an African? King Ramsey? Do that look like an African? I don't know. YouTube. Watch this. King Ramsey, Hollywood movie. Why they ain't gonna try to show that John up? Look at King Ramsey. This Moses' worker well. Look who Moses. Look at the Pharaoh of Egypt. Look.
You guys asked for it, so
Their children died last night, as did mine. Are you this God, a killer of children, and the worship of such God? No Hebrew child died last night. Whoa! Shit! And this in Egypt? Go to Canaan, back to the homelands of your dreams. Damn, Mel Gibson. Damn. Prime Minister Israel, Natu Benjamin. Natu, what's his name? Right? Thank you, Joe Rogan and Mel Gibson. Cause y'all all look like who? That's crazy to me. Hi, y'all. And I'm out, gang. Check out, look, y'all, man. Y'all be cool and y'all be safe, and I'll be right back.